Well, hi there. Welcome to Home Wizards. I'm Cindy Dole.
And I'm Eric Stromer.
And let's go to the bedroom, right? Let's
Come on.
find.
Here we go.
Let's go and finally do something.
Thought you never asked.
And let's go and do something in that area that we always put off our bedroom.
Yeah.
Right. We take care of our.
Well,
living
that's
room.
true now, isn't it? I have my bedroom looks like a hovel because all my time and energy goes to making my kids' place look great, but then what do I neglect? My own space, and who's in my space?
Everybody.
My kids.
Yeah.
They don't even go in their own
It's a
room.
party, is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
So I know that you have some great ideas. Let's talk about ways to, for starters, right now, turn your bedroom into more of an oasis by focusing on the headboard. I mean, when you go to a hotel, that hotel room, not only is the bed fluffy and the bedding, usually the sheets are really great, the pillows are great. I hope it is. It should be. But the headboard is really neat. And so there's something that we can do for anybody. Like, how about using salvage lumber and some picture frames to make kind of a personalized headboard?
Okay, yeah. That is such a great idea. And here's the deal with headboards. It becomes another plane, an area, if you will, where design can occur. So you have your existing wall colors. You might even have an accent wall. Mm-hmm. You've got all your pictures on the wall and all your good stuff. But then the headboard, often neglected, rarely even used because people think it's out of reach and unaffordable. If you buy them in the store, they can be very, very expensive. But you can make these headboards very, very inexpensively and then amend them to make them customized to your own needs and personal style, right?
Love it.
And the thing you're talking about with the picture frame, it's essentially just two pieces of wood coming up the wall. Mm-hmm. It can be 1 by stock. So imagine like 1 by 6 inches, one inch by 6 inches, right? Mm-hmm. That's coming up the side and do it the width of the bed. It can attach directly to the wall, basically.
You'd paint it probably, right?
And then you do two pieces coming across, so it looks like a goal post almost, but a little bit higher to the
top. Like an
top.
H almost.
There you go, exactly. An H on the top and then an H down in the middle. And then paint it, attach it to the wall, and then hang your pictures on, maybe separate them out so that, they're right next to each other, going all the way across the width of the top H, going across horizontally, and then you do another row, and you have something on there maybe says "Sweet Dreams" or Bobby's room, or this is a big boy bed, whatever it is you're going to do.
So all the frames would be identical, and then you could do whatever you want in terms of putting it inside the frame.
Yeah, and the key is the simplicity of the headboard, because really all it is 4 pieces of lumber that you're creating and attaching them to the wall. Make sure that they're coming up plumb. Mm-hmm. And then going across level, attach them to the wall. You can attach them to each other if you want, but it's not even necessary if it's going into the wall. And to attach them to the wall, you can literally just put some construction adhesive on the back and then nail them in 2 different places to hold them level or plumb, and then the construction adhesive will dry, and then you can either paint it on the wall or do it before you install the lumber. You're good to go. That's simple. That's not going to be more than $45.
And do you want the lumber to be all the way to the floor, or can it cheat?
It can just go to the baseboard, to the top of the baseboard, and then you're not going to see it anyway because it's behind the bed.
Okay,
right?
Makes sense.
Yeah, isn't that great?
How about this as an idea, actually using a fireplace mantle that either is something that you already own or you found it at a garage sale, or maybe even buy it at a big box store and you turn that into a headboard.
Sure, and those come pre-made and pre-sized, so a lot of the time they're going to be much more narrow than the bed itself, unless it's a single bed. So what you're going to have are either side there'll be a gap, so it's going to be this thing coming out of the center of the bed that's not going to look to be exactly the width. So it does look cool, but keep in mind that's not all the way side to side.
A little bit different, but I love all the molding.
And again, you're attaching that molding to the back wall, and you're having it come down just slightly below the back of the bed, so the bed still can push flush up against the wall. And then where the fireplace would be, you can upholster a panel by just using a piece of plywood cut to size, and then use that batting over
fluffy,
the top of it for the fluffy feel, and then staple gun it on the back.
So it's tight.
Stretching it tight, side to side, top to bottom, right?
So it's like a little chair almost.
And it's like a little upholstered chair seat, and then that's nice and soft on your head when you're laying there. And it looks great, and it's got the mantle above it, and it looks great.
It's like a little reading in the back, and then you have a little shelving unit up at the top where you could put some decorative little things.
And those are inexpensive if you buy them, raw, unfinished, and then you paint it to the, maybe the color of the trim in your room, and I think that's a real nice look.
But you talk about it being narrower than if let's say it was a a twin or a queen or even a king bed. It probably would only be the width of a single bed, maybe.
That's
huh?
right.
But I'm not bothered by that.
I'm not a hater.
I mean, you could put something like little side tables or something to give it balance.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. You could even cut the vertical part of it down maybe by another foot so it doesn't seem so tall, then it may not feel quite as out of proportion. So anyway, that's a design choice that you'll make when you decide that you want to do that.
What if we were to use a picket fence kind of a look? I mean, almost like pieces from kind of a weathered lumber for
There you go.
kind of a rustic
Sure,
vibe.
and again, that you're going to run your lumber to the width of the bed, up from the baseboard, both sides, the width of the bed, right? And then a nice big header on the top. So, and then you're going to fill in your...
So it's a frame. You make a frame.
It's a frame around the outside, right? And then you're going to, construction adhesive, screws or nails just to hold it while construction adhesive dries. And then just start from slightly below the back of the bed and then go across using, odd-sized different kinds of end-grain lumber, for example.
I love the different colors look.
Isn't that great?
Right? It's almost like
like you could use flooring, you could use siding that you would find on houses, you could find reclaimed barn wood and give you that sort of almost brick pattern using that kind of material.
Because picture if you were to have like a mahogany color and like a bamboo color and maybe even a cream color and you keep repeating that almost like a tapestry,
and
right?
I think that's real pretty.
Very,
that's more
very
of a sort of a new age contemporary barn vibe that I think has nice design sensibility.
What about using something as simple as PVC pipe but paint it silver so it gives this industrial vibe headboard?
Yeah, PVC is super easy to work with. Again, you buy the wider stuff that's about 2 inches and it's plug and play basically, and you don't even have to have the adhesive.
Okay, hold on.
There's so much to talk about.
I know. We got more headboards because this is fun. I mean, I love the idea of giving that industrial kind of edgy, especially if you live in a high rise
or
urban
kind of
center. Really neat. Eric Stormer, Cindy Dole, we have more ideas, some great headboard transformations and more here on Home Wizards.
Those lonely days, they go on and on. If you want me to love you.
Oh, yeah, we're getting to the groove there. Eric Stromer.
That's the Isley Brothers.
Cindy Dole, you're listening to
Love
Home Wizards, and we're still hanging out in the bedroom because you know what? Our bedrooms are not getting the TLC that we need.
No.
And it can be as simple as just paying attention to the headboard to give your bedroom this kind of a new...
often overlooked area of design.
I know.
That makes a huge
It's going to look
difference.
like a hotel, like a resort. It's going to give it a
Yes.
finish. It's going to accent the bed. And so we were just talking about how something as simple as PVC, the stuff, that white plastic piping that you see in the plumbing section.
Yeah, and if you get the bigger 1.5 or 2 inch pieces, it's plug and play. They come with,
It's like Legos.
Ways to make right angles. You can do 3 pipes going into one thing. So, what you do is you get this PVC, you can spray paint it silver or gold and kind of make it look like it's metal.
Like a gunite thing, right?
There you go. And then you can create any configuration to the width of the bed. The stuff cuts with either a PVC cutter, which is a very inexpensive handheld device that cranks down on it and makes it just snap.
Oh, easy.
Or you can saw it with a Sawzall or a hacksaw or a handsaw of some sort. And you just plug it in. You don't even have to use the adhesive because it'll stay once you make this configuration. Again, anchor that to the wall, and you can literally drill through the stuff. So you could use a long 3-inch screw to secure it to the wall.
Nice.
You're going to want it to be slightly wider than the bed because it'll probably impede the bed from going all the way up against the wall. So have it come out slightly
That's
wider.
a good tip.
Screw it through and use wall anchors if you need to make it secure.
Okay.
And then you're good to go and spray it. And then the good thing is you can make so many different configurations and angles within it that you could, wrap twine around it and hang maybe pictures from an old vacation.
Cute.
You could hang, again, kid photos. Whatever you can imagine. It's just like you were creating solid piping to be the headboard, and then what's inside the pipes is what's cool about it, right?
And this would look good in a dorm room, too, I'm thinking,
yeah, come on.
with back to school coming up soon. I love that whole idea of it being inexpensive, and yet it could be great for a guy as well as for a gal.
And it's the room all the kids want to hang out in.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then maybe other people pay for the pizza.
Why not?
You just provide the headboard and people are into it.
Or how about using that, like you said, anything can go in the center. What about making a piece of boat sail stretch across that frame of
That's
PVC?
your nautical theme.
With some grommets
What's the
and
matter
rope.
with that? Yep.
Now you feel like you're
Any
just...
kind of banner fits in the center of this thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good option. And that, by the way, maybe $15 at the most to make that out of PVC. Nothing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What about using something like a slatted headboard, to really give it a feeling of, you can sit up and watch TV or work at your laptop?
Yeah.
I mean, what would you use for that
Well,
slat?
a lot of the mattresses now don't even require a box spring. If you want the height, you can still use one. But I remember back in the day with the old futons
Sure,
or
just right on the floor.
Tempur-Pedic foam or whatever it is, it doesn't require anything but just a flat surface. So you can do, 4x4 posts sitting on the floor with slatted wood going across. You can finish the wood, make it look more like a sort of Asian-inspired platform bed, and then have a piece, almost like imagine, if you will, like a large lawn chair made out of wood where the back hinges up. You can have that either angled so that when you want to sit up in bed and have that nice comfortable angle for reading, you can.
Would you even use a pallet?
You could use a pallet too,
Because we're nuts for pallets.
Yeah, you just have to put two of them together end to end,
and then maybe
and then paint it up or stain it and sand it. It'll look fantastic. Yeah, that's a real simple fix, easy to do.
I remember when I went to my first apartment, all I had was an inflatable bed. So if you had something really, even for like a guest room, you could turn that into something.
And then
cool.
that can double as a couch if you wanted to, if it's against the long wall, and then you have cushions behind it. Yeah, great, easy, simple.
What if you wanted to kind of turn a headboard into something that felt more like it was like a cottage? And you use some plywood or something to give it.
Now think about this. So all cabinetry is basically pieces of either plywood or whatever material you're using, hardwood. And then there's applied molding to give it that really beautiful look that feels like it's got that cottage vibe to it, right? So essentially, you're going to take a piece of birch plywood. So when you buy plywood, you can get a couple of different grades. There's CDX, which is construction grade. There's birch plywood, which is laminate wood, but then it has an outer layer of a real beautiful wood, like birch or maple or whatever you want to buy. So it actually looks like a solid piece of wood, right?
And it has that textured.
It's got the nice smooth feel to it, and you can either paint it or apply. There's also paint grade plywood that is used in cabinetry. So you're going to take your big piece of plywood, cut it to the width of the bed, right? You can have it go all the way back to the floor, or it can be again mounted over the molding, and then you're going to apply like 2-inch strips of wood on the sides and the top, and then like window frame in the center, using the same stock but a little narrower so that it's wide. It looks like a glass door.
I was going to say, what about even just getting a door? Could you get a wood door?
You could also get a door, do the same thing. And so again, it's just using plywood and applied molding on top, painting it one solid color, and now all of a sudden it looks like a beautiful, very expensive headboard.
It looks like something you'd see in a hotel,
Yeah.
Or what if you were to even use shutters?
You could do anything.
Anything.
You could put anything on the back of the bed wall, and it's going to look like a fancy headboard.
I think it's really neat.
I do too.
What about doing something with a little more padding? I love the idea that also kind of gives you that regal feel where it's upholstered. It has some kind of a dramatic focal point, and maybe even have that go all the way to the ceiling. I've seen this in hotels.
I like that look too.
Right?
That's fantastic.
So what kind of a backing do we use and then cover it?
Same thing. It's going to be plywood, and then you're going to use a piece, like longer pieces of wood if you have to make 2 pieces of plywood stick together.
Because we want to have that double dimension feel, right?
Yes.
One on top of the other.
So what you're going to do is have 2 4x8 sheets of plywood on the floor. And you're going to put them together. Then you're going to put a cleat, is what it's called, that goes across the seam, right? So a piece of wood going across both pieces, right, to hold it together. So you want to run 2 on the side, 1 in the center, and then maybe 1 down the middle, so that it's got backing and it's rigid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So then you've got now an 8x8 square of plywood. And then you can put your batting over that, flip it over with your fabric, and then staple gun it to the back. So now you've got a big 8-foot by 8-foot applied, beautifully soft with the fabric stapled in the back, and you just kind of erect that into the wall. And then screw it off somehow, either using a cleat system or, putting whatever screw holes in that you need to hold it to the wall.
But I mean, I love that look. It looks very elegant.
It does,
especially the height. I think
and
from the floor.
If you're good with sewing and upholstery, you can do a million different things with fabric, right?
What about using some salvage planks and turning that into a headboard where it becomes again, almost like a cottagey feel or a summer resort feel with a family photo that can be right in the center, and you just have these planks of wood going vertically, different colors,
That's a great
different
idea.
tones.
Yeah. Again, it's attached right to the back wall. And then you just got to get a photo blown up, and that's so easy to do now. You can send away for it online or take it to the, Kinko's or whoever, they'll do them.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
It's almost like it's doing all these different headboards is almost like it's like you want to do one for every room now because there's so many great ideas.
I'm going crazy for headboards. Yeah.
And if you wanted to do something really rustic, what about some kind of tongue and groove construction? Talk us through that, where it gives it a distressed look.
Right. Again, it would be the outside framing, both sides going down to the floor, something across the top, and then maybe a flat piece sitting on top to give you that relief, so it looks like there's a place to rest drinks above it, and then inserting within it the rustic tongue and groove, and then it's all about stain and the finish on the stain. So you could stain the wood a color and then put either brie wax over it, which is a great look.
Oh yeah.
You could paint it and distress it, and then put the brie wax over that. The brie wax is great stuff because it doesn't have any toxic off-gassing, and it's got a nice feel to it. It's still got a little bit of gloss, but it's more natural. I think that's a real great way to go.
I love it on a salad, but well,
Hey,
maybe
stop
not.
it. You don't need brie wax.
How about using something as dainty and really cute for a girl's room by going to a thrift store, and take a basic headboard that you might already find, paint it white, but then get some little tree branches to extend it and attach it to the headboard so it feels, and you can get those little plastic, fake birds, and then adhere them to these branches.
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
So it looks like your little birds are flying, living in this tree or this forest, an enchanted forest that's coming out of your bed.
I've seen that too, where people strip those branches so that it's just raw wood, and they put the brie wax on the raw wood, or you can paint them, and then have all these sort of branches coming up off the top of the headboard, either attached from behind or in the front. You can pre-drill those and then screw them to the backing of the headboard, and they'll stay. As long as you use 2 screws, it won't turn on you, rotate. That's a great look.
It's
I love
really,
that.
it's
Yeah.
special and good for a
Sure
girl's
is.
room.
Yeah.
Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, we'll put all these on the website as always at yourhomewizards.com because we love to improve your home and improve your life. When we come back, we're going to take it outside. We got some fun ideas. How would you like to eat your yard? You can eat your yard.
Really?
Weeds and flowers and all.